What's going on, guys? Welcome to the casual gaming conversation. It's been a long time since I've said that one. We're back at it. As always, I'm with the brother from the same mother, the brother Evans, Connor. Evans, Connor, how are you feeling?
I'm doing fantastic. Feeling great. Happy to be here talking about some PlayStation. I haven't
I.
been talking about them for a while, so it's good.
It's really funny. Like it's really weird because we talked about doing the show, and about a week ago you were like, we got nothing to talk about, and then here we are with we had to come off the bench for this one. We had to go get back in the game for this one
Right.
because it's the biggest possible news possible. If you don't know, this upcoming Thursday, so it's now Friday when we're shooting, this upcoming Thursday on November 9th, I believe it is, at 1.
September 9th.
Sorry, September 9th. Yeah, I get those two mixed up. Anyways, on September 9th, we are going to have a PlayStation press conference at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 Eastern in the US. And it's a banger. It's a PlayStation press conference. So today we're not going to do what we've been playing. We're not going to be doing all the shenanigans. We got no rapid fire prepared. We're going to go. We're going to bring predictions. We're going to talk about the likelihood of them, and then we're going to go and maybe put some bets down. I don't know. We're going to have a good show. It's just going to be chill. It's going to be fun, and yeah. So Connor, what was your reaction when this press conference got announced yesterday?
I'm surprised because I think of the different studios the PlayStation has and what they've put out recently, and I don't really feel confident in a lot of the heavy hitters having something ready. So I don't really know what they have to show. That's the concerning thing for me is I really have no idea what we're gonna get aside from one thing that is almost guaranteed. But other than that, there's speculation on stuff, but even then it's we're not getting anything from Sucker Punch.
Yep.
We're not getting anything from Insomniac Games, I don't think.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get anything from I don't know. We're not getting anything from Housemarque, obviously, because we just got Returnal. So who knows?
And then also the other thing is I've heard a lot of speculation with what Bluepoint's doing next. I think that's a little bullish, saying that Bluepoint, after 2020 late releasing a game, that they're going to already have news rolling in. I think it's more likely that we see something from Naughty Dog, what they've been up to, stuff like that.
Naughty Dog's still recent though.
It's still really recent. And so you go, and then we already know what's happening with Guerrilla. We already know what's happening with Santa Monica, Sony Santa Monica.
Uh-huh.
And so now we're sort of put in this spot. But before we get into it, I just went, and I wanted to do this before the show, and I'm happy that I got to. This branding of PlayStation press conference, it carries some weight. It carries a lot. The last year we got 2 PlayStation press conferences, or we got the PlayStation Showcase and the PlayStation press conference. It adds these big blow up things. But last year, 40-minute presentation like this year. Last year we got FF16 to kick it off. Then Spider-Man Miles Morales gameplay. They did a full section of a bridge scene. Then Hogwarts, the whole open world game there. Then we got Call of Duty, Cold War, which was last year's Call of Duty. Then we got RE8. Then we got Deathloop. Then we got news for Devil May Cry 5. Then we got an update on Oddworld. Then to close out this show, this already banger of a show with the first couple of announcements. We got Demon Souls gameplay. They announced the PlayStation Plus collection. They announced God of War. And then we got the price of the console and the date it was getting released. That is arguably the greatest press conference of all time.
Yeah, so good.
I there was not a misstep. It was 40 minutes just jam-packed. And so when I saw 40 minutes yesterday, I was like, yes! Yes!
Yeah. It's a lot.
That's a good amount of time, especially where I'm with you. I thought that there wasn't going to be this. And I thought that there wasn't a need for it because we
know what's coming.
We know what's coming.
We know what's coming in the near future. Though I did look at the PlayStation blog post today for what they said is going to be they always set expectations. It's stuff that is coming out holiday 2021 and beyond is what they said basically. So we could get something that's big for fall
for November. Which that's sort of where we're at, where we have this gap between Deathloop and Horizon. So from
Right.
February to Deathloop's in like a week. Like it's soon.
Right. I'm
Um,
psyched.
super psyched. That's gonna be a must buy, must play. We'll probably talk about that on the show.
Mhm.
Um, I'm stoked for those games, and honestly, like that amount of gapping, I'm like, okay, like we got Ratchet earlier, we're getting Deathloop now. Returnal earlier this year was one of the best surprises I would say of 2020. Everyone seemed to love that game,
Yeah.
and now,
Honestly, I'm okay with the gap. Like,
yeah,
just to kind of like go on a tangent there. Like, people forget the first year of PS4 was like really rough. The first time we got like a really big exclusive was Uncharted 4 in 2015 or 2016.
16.
Like, see, yeah, like we got like nothing. Like, I mean, if you count Killzone Shadowfall and like Knack, like, but we really wrote out like games like Destiny and Grand Theft Auto 5 and stuff like that
The
on
newest
PS.
COD when they were
Yeah,
coming out, yeah,
right, right. So like those were the big games for like the falls and everything. We already have like a good catalog of stuff, and if Deathloop is the last exclusive for the year, it's like that's a pretty good game to go out
yeah,
on. It honestly, like if they just push it to November, like they could have really marketed it
as
as
the game.
the game, because like we just got Ghost, the expansion for Ghost of Tsushima, and then we have Death Stranding director's cut in September, so you could have just pushed it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Like there's so much to play already that it is what it is.
Well, that's what
So
I was about to say. Where we're about to enter this holiday, and to go and look at the other side of things of where Xbox is at with Halo coming out. If you're going to be like, all right, I'm going to pick up one of these boxes for my kid this holiday, and you got Halo on one side, but then you have Demon Souls, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, and Deathloop. That's like
it's a
already
catalog,
that's you got a stack of games to get through
right?
when you're picking up a console now, which is really cool. Like where I've never felt like there was nothing to play with PlayStation, especially having the PlayStation Plus collection and having all of the
Mhm.
like multiplayer games and fun stuff to go along with. I love where we're at with PlayStation, and that the fact that this is happening is a larger surprise than I did not think we'd be here this year. I didn't
Right.
think that there was a chance. I thought that the next big thing was going to be Game Awards, and now Sony's like, September's ours. We are doing September. Like that's sort of what you got to
Did they
look
do that
at.
last
They
time
did it
too?
last year.
Yeah,
That's last year
yeah.
was this press conference, whereas
Interesting.
same around the same date, and
Mhm.
it's kind of nice because you get through the June, July, August of E3 news and the Jeff Keighley's and all that goodness, and then you
Yeah,
get they're like,
GameStop.
we are getting the last word. We are having the
Right.
last word, and it's going to be a banger. And they also did something in June, and the June showcase was also baller with the announcement of Spider-Man and with the announcement of Horizon. That one-two punch was also unforgettable. And
Right.
so we're in a really bullish spot because if it was a state of play, I would be like, cool, I'd watch it. It would be
Yeah.
20 minutes and we'd move on. And like we'd get updates on some fun games like Sifu and all these like smaller games that were like, they're exciting, but like we're not gonna. They always preface the state of play of there's not gonna be news on God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn or like, and you sort of just cover your bases. And I love that they cover their bases, but the only base that they covered for this was there's no PSVR 2 news. Other than that,
Right.
go. And so now it's go time. So I'll kick us off with our first prediction, and it's a smaller one, but it's a hype one. It carries some weight for me personally. I want an update on Stray and Ghostwire Tokyo. Those are two games that we heard about way back in that first press conference in June. The game with the cat, and then Ghostwire Tokyo, which is the next and our final game from Bethesda Games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
What is happening with those two games? They've been radio silent, and honestly, like Stray is like a bonus one I want to throw in there. They acted like they're like, first, boom, Sony logo, like let's do this, but we haven't seen anything from it. And then Ghostwire Tokyo being this last swan song for Bethesda and PlayStation, running it back one last time. I want updates on those games, and mainly I want dates. I want, and those are the sort of like filler things of like Devil May Cry 5 and Oddworld that they sort of just like stick in there like as a
Right.
little bit of filler. Those are games that I'm interested enough in that I want updates on that we haven't gotten updates on, and this is a spot to get updates on. Like this is a good
Right.
like small area where we can get some of those filler pieces that are still important. Like Devil May Cry 5 news, like that's awesome. Like that is a big blockbuster from 2019 that now got like extra stuff. Then the
Mhm.
Oddworld Soulstorm, like boom, like that's a game that like that. It's not a huge one, it's not a blockbuster, but people care about that. For me, getting dates on those titles, it sort of will like fill out that meal a little bit of what this press conference will be when we're at the end of it and we got the steak and you got the sauce, you got the asparagus. I just want a little mashed potatoes. I want my roll. Like those are that sort of like
Right.
secondary things that I really do appreciate and love.
Yeah, I do feel like you get stuff like GTA 5 on PS5, like in that kind of like window. Like I think we're gonna get updates like that. In the same vein, I think that Ghostwire Tokyo is probably far-ish out, like
It
probably
had
like
a
end of
2021
2022.
date when
Yeah, but then they pushed
yeah.
it, and they barely showed anything when they showed it the first time. Um, so I think that it's further out than we think, just because I think it's been really a painful dev cycle for them. Like they lost their like director or whatever, and had to like kind of probably pivot. It looks really different than when we first saw it, so I'm not really confident that game's gonna be very good.
Yeah.
I think Deathloop is probably like your kind of guarantee. Tango Softworks like makes good games, like Evil Within are pretty solid, but they're really not like that high budget, if that makes sense. They always
Yeah.
feel like kind of like a B level like horror game type deal. They're fun. They just look a little bit janky. So I don't know. Ghostwire Tokyo looks pretty good, and I'm excited to see like what they figure out. But I think it's further off, and I think Stray looks like a fun game. I'm not really like into it
Yeah, I'm
personally,
not
though.
anticipating it, but I want to see
Yeah,
more. Like they whet my appetite a little bit with it, and it's one of those things. So like that game will eventually come out on PS Plus. It will,
right.
and
Yeah,
so
probably.
like that's sort of one of those games that I'm like, okay, like let's rock and roll, let's do this.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so that's where I want to kick us off. I wanted to just like sort of whet our appetite with these predictions and see where your head's at. Connor, what's your first prediction for the PlayStation press conference
I'm gonna
of
go a little hard.
2021?
I'm
Go
going
ahead.
harder than that. Like, yeah, you're coming with some weak shit. Um, I mean, we talked about it earlier. I think that they announced that Blue Point is like acquired or whatever. I think that's kind of money in the bank, and I think that they tease something. Like, I don't think I think it's very short. Just like tells kind of like what they're gonna be working on. Because like I feel like when it comes to Blue Point, like people are going to be like patient and they just really want to know like what they are working on.
Yeah.
And honestly, they could have been working on multiple things at once. Like we
Yes.
don't know that. So like there was rumors like when they were first were but before Demon Souls was announced, it was like Demon Souls and Metal Gear. Like those were like talked about a lot, and you can hear a Metal Gear apparently in Demon Souls like in certain areas. So like I feel like it's pretty kind of money in the bank that they're doing that. It's just a matter of when and how far along they are. So I think that you get the announcement and then they are like, and let's see what they're working on. And then they show us like a teaser or
For
even just like a logo, like with sounds and stuff. Like
yeah.
I think that would be cool. And they say we're partnered with Konami and with oversight from Hideo Kojima,
Yeah.
and there we are.
I think that so that's not on my list, and I feel like that is close to like it kind of we're in such a weird spot where we know where a lot of the players are that I feel like
Mhm.
that's such a good money in the bank almost way to close out the show. If they closed out the show that way
No.
with Metal Gear, with
Okay,
Metal
well, it
Gear,
depends on how much they're showing because I think that they probably have a game that's further along that they can show like gameplay for, like God of War.
yeah.
Like they'll close it out with that, or they open it with that.
So that's where my next prediction is going to go. I'm saying God of War gameplay to kick off the show.
Yeah, I
So
think it's possible. They showed when they first showed God of War, like the
yeah,
first time, like for
it was gameplay.
PS4, it was gameplay. So I think you're probably right, and I think that game is pretty decently far along.
Yeah,
It's also a PS4 game, so like I think they're using like the same kind of like engine and stuff. So I think we get it. Obviously, I don't even have this as a prediction. Like I think you're definitely seeing
yeah.
God of War. I think the prediction there is gameplay, and I think that's fair.
I think it's gameplay. I don't think that we're gonna get an update on a date, and I don't want one. I don't want to see
Yeah.
especially unless they're like, unless it's April or May, I don't want to see a month style date. You know,
Yeah,
like that just seems like almost too much. But once again, it's the same thing that we talked about for Ghostwire, where it was initially a 2021 date. They did backtrack fast enough where it was like, okay, this
yeah.
game is still far along,
It was always far along.
and it could be, realistically, it could be 2022 in November. Like that does
Right.
not seem like the most ridiculous statement. Um, but filling it out and having that gameplay, we kind of show everyone, hey, we're moving. And with this press conference, I feel like everyone's looking at it. Like we're going to be doing live reactions, at least myself and one other member of the Nose On team, and hopefully you, depending on work and schedules in life. But with all that, like God of War will be that pop moment no matter what. It's Money in the
Right.
Bank to be a pop moment, and so like why I feel like doing this is sort of like laying your cards out to be like, hey, we got something from God of War.
I
Because
think you close. I think you close up the show personally with it. That's my opinion, though. I think
well, I think
it's at
that
the end.
I think that it's gonna be. I most likely think that the show ends with the Blue Point acquisition and Metal Gear. I think that that's the level of like we got God of War and like I feel like
Yeah.
setting the pace for having God of War in the front is going to allow for an announcement like that at the back to be next
Mhm.
level. Where if you flip it, I feel like the God of War news is going to go and overshadow Blue Point, no matter like, and just take
Right.
away from this crazy thing that would be Metal Gear coming back in some regard with Blue Point for remake. Like, come on, like that's
Right.
absurd. That should be like the biggest announcement. If it's real, like everyone that's the biggest rumor that on the street right now. The street's very talky about all this, and I really think that there's a good shot we get that the Blue Point acquisition with Metal Gear. But God of War gameplay, it's almost Money in the Bank. I like.
Right.
I feel pretty sound on gameplay. If it's just a trailer, are you upset?
No.
I,
I want
I
them to take their time. Like the thing is, people forget. Like we got the release date announcement for God of War, like the date. I think like 3 months before it came out. So like it came out in April, and then we got it like in February, January, like time. About so like I don't know.
it got pushed then to April because it got a release date and then it got pushed 2 more months right after
Okay,
that. Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, so like they really like to. No, did it really? Because I thought that they okay, but they seem to really like to keep the release date close to their chest until they like really are confident in it.
Yeah.
And the idea that Horizon, like they like couldn't even get it close to, they couldn't like commit to holiday and then had to push it to February. Like that game came out like 2 years before God of War. And like Zero Dawn came out 2 years before God of War. Like I don't know how it's possible
Yeah.
that this game is ready this fast.
I think it's
So
the
like
same engine. I think that that's a big part of it. They're using the same engine. They're putting it
I
on the
think
same
that
console.
I
But so
think
is
that
Horizon.
yeah, exactly. So like I don't really understand that argument either. But we'll see. It's different because God of War is more linear, I guess, and Horizon's like a vast open world game, so that might be a thing. Speaking of Horizon, real fast, we're not seeing anything from that game. That game is done being shown until we get really close to release date. I think.
It's not on my predictions. I think that there's a
Why?
chance
Yeah,
to say something about it, but I don't think that there's a need
we
to talk
literally
about it. Yeah.
just got an update. We just got the release date. Like we
Yeah.
don't need anything else.
Which,
So
which for me, why did they put that in Keely's thing? Like we gave
because it's
Xbox a lot of crap.
inconsequential.
I kind of agree that it is
It's like it's
inconsequential, but it would have been like if we Halo had their thing and Keely's thing when they had like their own event with Gamescom like the day before, and everyone gave them a tough time for it and busted their balls. But now that this is happening, I'm like, we could have waited a couple weeks, and that would have been another moment. Like when you're running down the
would it be?
list.
I don't know.
For me in Gamescom, it was a moment, but I think it was more of a moment of we have Xbox and we have the two best like games that we know are definitely coming out in Halo and with Horizon. Both of their dates getting announced on Keely's stage was a moment for Keely and be like, "Wow, this dude is killing it."
Yeah, they don't really have they don't really do release date announcements like that though.
Yeah,
Like for the last like handful of games, it has always just been a blog post.
Yeah, which
Like
is
they just
nuts.
yeah. I think
So
it's fine because release date, like, it doesn't really matter. Like at the end of the day, like, just get the game out when the game's supposed to be out and let us know. And they usually just update, like, because they change release dates all the time, by like a couple months. They're usually pretty good about getting it like within a couple months.
yeah,
It's not very rarely does Sony delay a game multiple years at this point,
yeah,
which they have been known to do in the past. That's why the God of War situation kind of scares me. I
yeah,
think the game was just announced to sell PS5s, and that's what it is. So.
yeah. Call a spade a spade. Connor, where are you heading next with this?
All right. I can go with the one that I think we both probably have, or I can go with one that we don't. What do you want me
We
to
go
do?
with the one we both have. Let's just get it out of
Okay,
the
we're
way.
getting factions multiplayer. It's getting announced. It's getting shown for like like a cinematic trailer type deal, like a tone piece.
I
And like they give details and like talk about it, but I don't think we're getting gameplay.
I think, and this is bold, I think that this is the thing that's in the gap. I think that this game is going to be this holiday, 2021. I think
Yeah.
I
I can.
like just go down the narrative train with me. They like there's something that is going to be this holiday. There's something of consequential notions when they're bringing up holiday 2021 because if like there's nothing this holiday that you can like point to even like double A game wise and be like, oh, that could be what they're talking about when they're talking. No, there's something we don't know about that is going to be in this holiday period now, and
Right.
so I like looking down like the like list of like, okay, Metal Gear Forever, we God of War 2022. Like, what could be that thing that's in that gap? I feel like if it's a true just like extra multiplayer thing that's attached to The Last of Us 2, and it's not like, I think that that could be the thing. I think
No,
that
it's a full multiplayer game is what it's going to be. It's going to be a $70 video game, in my opinion.
I think that it could be. I'm saying that it could be this. It's the boldest take that I probably have on this list, besides something else that I'll get to next. But it's also on my list. Last of Us Factions. What do you think the
Right.
likelihood of us seeing it is?
Seeing it really high, like almost a guarantee. It being this year or really even that close, I think is pretty low.
So,
And this is why they literally just posted a job like looking for people for a multiplayer game, like and they're hiring like a ton of people. Like it wasn't like a small list. They like I think
they're
they're
bringing in
just kind of
boys. Yeah.
ramping. I think they're just ramping up on it. So.
All right. Fair is fair. I also had it on my list, so it's gonna go. I've already got three, but done two of yours. Where are you going next, Connor?
Is that just two? Oh, okay.
So you've done
Okay.
Bluepoint, and then I've done
No.
Last of Us, God of War, and Stray, and Ghostwire updates.
All right. Next, I'm gonna go. I'm saving my big one for last. I think that we see Final Fantasy 16. I think we get a release date here and more gameplay.
It's not on my list. I like it. It's spicy. It's hot. It's a good
Yeah.
guess.
The thing is, Square Enix is doing a Square Enix Presents at TGS,
Yeah.
and they've already said that 16 isn't going to be there. And I think that the fact that it is a PlayStation 5 exclusive and they're going to promote it as such, every single time we saw like Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it was like always at like a PlayStation event first, and then was shown by them later, and then was continuously shown at PlayStation events. So I think we see it, and I think it looks great, and I'm excited for it.
I think that there's a high chance we see it. This is such a weird conference because I'm gonna just run through my last two really quick because they go with what we just said and something else. I feel like a lot of my things are in pairs of what could potentially happen. So I think that there's a chance we see Last of Us Factions, and then I also think that there's a chance that we get teased of something else that Naughty Dog is doing. I think
Yeah,
so that's like a 1-2 punch that I could potentially see. Like
I was kind of
back to back.
talking. I was thinking about this because so like we got
That's
that
one of my
announced.
predictions, by the way, of like
Yeah,
what's next. Yeah,
we got that like announcement that they like took the Last of Us One remake away from like another like smaller like studio and like brought it in house. So like, how far along is that? Like, it could have been like really far along, and they are like releasing it this year. Like, it's possible, but like, I don't. Whatever Naughty Dog is working on next, I hope it's a new IP, and I hope it's far off. Like, just and I hope they don't announce it. Like, they announced it so early for Naughty Dog for no reason. They announced The Last of Us Part 2 in like 2016
16
2016, in December. Like, so like Uncharted came out, and then they showed Lost Legacy and The Last of Us Part 2 like in the same year. Like, it's like that game didn't come out for 4 more years. Like, don't do this to us again.
Speaking of
which, we don't need this.
I want more Lost Legacy too. Like, that game is so dang good that like I'd be fine with if there's something next that's that packaging size that's 8 hours.
But did you play the whole thing? Did you play?
It's all
when did that happen?
On stream in March.
Great game.
Great game. That's the nice part about streaming too. It gives me a double whammy of like, I need to cross something off the list and I need to stream right now. So bang, let's do it. But that game is great. I seeing what's next is gonna be really important. I want to get back to the Final Fantasy 16 though. What like we got a lot of that game. We got a full trailer. It's what kicked off the show last year. Do you think that there's potential for them kicking off the show again with that?
No, I think it's like in the middle. I think that they like kind of do like the state of play voice. Like, here's a little look at Final Fantasy 16, and then they like show like different gameplay aspects and like explain it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
be like,
see that.
In Final Fantasy 16, you're controlling one character, and combat is reworked or whatever, like shit like that. And I think it looks cool, and they like show the world and kind of like explain the characters a little bit more. Like, it's been a year since we last saw that game, and it looked far along. Like, it looked like it was like almost ready. Like, it had cinematics, it had gameplay in there. Like, it's got to be soonish. Like, I would imagine like next year is kind of a slam dunk for Final Fantasy 16, and I thought it could still be this year. Like, originally, like it is within the realm of possibility that it's this year. Like, they could announce, like they could give a release date for it tomorrow, and it's like December, and like that's their big game. It's possible.
That would be. It's just nuts.
It would. The main reason that I don't think it's gonna happen is Endwalker, Final Fantasy 14's like expansion is this fall. So like, you don't want to cannibalize around like two Final Fantasy things at once. Yeah. So that kind of hurts.
I have a curveball question talking about this Square stuff and talking about Final Fantasy 7. Do you think that we see anything from Guardians?
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a like. They did already a huge deep dive on it when they for E3, and we haven't really heard anything since then. But like, it was such a long deep dive that like we kind of don't need to.
Right, you could just waste our time and just show it, and like I feel like there's nothing else to show that's going to convince people who like aren't already going to get it and are not going to get it. Yeah. Like, that game is what it is, and we saw a lot of it. Like, why would you show more at this point? It's coming out so soon.
October.
Like, like. You could show like a little trailer and like have like 2 minutes be taken up by it where everybody looks at their phones. Like, I'm excited. Like, I think the game's gonna be like a solid like 7, maybe an 8 if it like things kind of
if the story roll the right way, and, like the jokes hit, and stuff like that.
Yeah. But like, I'm not marking my calendar for that game at all. Like, it would have to be like. There would have to be excitement around it for me to pick it up, or I would just wait for a sale or something.
That's one that I'm like, coming to Game Pass, and then it's December, and I go and I pick up my Halo, and then I pick up some Guardians on the side. Like, oh dude, that coffee looks so good. I'm so jealous. I was gonna make myself some coffee before the show, and then I was like, I need water. My throat hurts. But yeah, that just throwing that little curveball. It's not on my list, but it was something that came to my mind. Connor, what's your last prediction?
I have 2 more.
Oh, or second last, yeah.
Yeah, are you done?
I have 1 more.
Okay. My second to last.
With the last
my second to last is not my like big surprise prediction, but I think it has a chance. San Diego Studios is working on Uncharted, and it is shown in some capacity, like not like no gameplay, but just like teased, like yeah, that initial like Drake teaser that we got when we first saw Uncharted 4. I think it's something like that.
So, Connor Evans, what do you want from an Uncharted game?
I want it to either. I don't want Drake. I honestly like wouldn't even mind if we didn't get any characters. Like it's just like a full reboot. Like it's like the same kind of like cinematic blockbuster type game, but it has nobody that we like know previously. I think that could work and just run on the Uncharted name. Um, Especially with that Indiana Jones game coming out for Bethesda, like I feel like you still need to kind of be in that space because they're currently kind of pushing into that space.
Yeah.
But if it's not that, then just give me more Chloe and Nadine
Like
and
for me,
Elena.
it's like you got such a good squad of characters already that you could choose
Right.
and pick and choose. A full reboot is ballsy. Just because like it takes away that familiarity. But when it's Naughty Dog, they haven't proven us wrong in 13 years. So
Right.
what are you gonna say? I totally think that's like that. My prediction of like what's next. It could be that. It could be like I just wanted to like
No, so real quick, it's San Diego Studio.
Studios. I know, but they've got to partner with Naughty Dog for the IP, right? Like they have to.
I mean, they probably would get input, but like it would be their game. Like
Yeah.
I don't think Naughty Dog wants to make an Uncharted.
Yeah, I think that there's the over under us seeing the Naughty Dog logo. Do you think it happens during this press conference?
It happens for factions.
I would say it happens 100%. Like
Yeah,
either
for factions
or something else.
It happens 100% for factions and nothing else.
Dang.
I hope nothing else, dude. It's so recent. They just put out The Last of Us Part 2, and that game took forever to come out. Like, I don't want. I'm sick of studios showing us their games.
Hey, Neil Druckmann says they've got a script for 3. They're done with the script for 3, and so
I understand, but that doesn't mean that they're far along at all with that game.
I'm totally kidding. That game will come out in 2026. Like we will be old gray men by then.
Right.
By then I'll have piercings too. You know. Do we want to swing into the last one, or are you all good?
Yeah.
All
right. No, you go for it.
My last one, I said a lot of these things were in pairs, in tandems, and a lot like my Naughty Dog prediction, tagging off your FF16 prediction. I was going to say FF7 Remake Part 2. I want it. I want it bad. I want it in my face. I want it so... Because they're at the point. And I know Integrate just came out. And so, like, that's... I'm not expecting, like, gameplay. I'm not expecting pomp and circumstance. They're at the point, though, where, one, we know this game is coming out. 2, they can show a sword and we lose our effing minds. Why not? Like this showcase has so... Like, we don't know what's happening with a lot of things, but it's almost like with the God of War prediction of last year. Oh, we know it's happening. We know it's going to be a thing. Throw a teaser up there. Let us get freaking hyped. Let us know what's happening. We know part 2 is happening. But, like, let us know it's coming. It's down the pipeline. It's being worked on. And it's... I feel like that's almost an easy prediction. Like, it's almost too easy to go and do. Because... They just like need to just tease it, say 2023, and we lose our minds. We go nuts. Like that's it's almost too easy. And if they wanted to, and they want to put a 2022 date on it, then push it to 2023, I'm fine with that too. But like
I could see it coming out in 2022. Is the thing like it's possible, very possible.
Yeah,
it came out in what 2019.
No, 2020. Came out 2020.
That is so weird.
Dude,
time that whole year.
The COVID baby. Like
because that was before COVID. I
know it was right at the start of it.
Right at the start, but it was like a different time for me because I was still like at my old job. So like I like feel
you were still in Massachusetts. Person. I just got back to Massachusetts. We were kicking. We were hanging out playing Resident Evil 3, dude. It was a good time.
Right. I had to like ask off work to play that game, so like that feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I think that there's a pretty good shot. I think that they have all the building blocks more so than like a God of War or even like Horizon to like just kind of like pump out another game there.
Like the combat system's set. Like you don't need
Right.
to like expand it too much, you know.
Exactly. The thing is, you're adding characters, and like that's it.
Characters
Because we're
and
gonna get
world, like different
Yuffie's
spaces.
gonna join the party, so we already have her, and then
But her
like
character
Sid.
design is already
Right.
bolted out, you know. Like and you got her
Right.
character design, you got her combat set. Like those are things that like take time and work that are already checked off.
Right. They're gonna have to add a combat set for Red 13, and I imagine potentially Sid and Vincent will be added in this. I'm trying to remember. Oh, Kate Sith, who we saw at in like for like a little bit in 7 Part 1. So like we'll see how that all goes. I think there's a good shot, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not there, because it's one or the other. It's Final Fantasy 16 or 7 Part 2.
I think that there's a chance to close out the show with the 1-2 punch of that. Like that's where there's so much potential on this showcase when you really get into it. Where we're like, we know what we're getting next year. We're gonna get Horizon and God of War. Like,
Probably. Yeah.
probably. We're gonna get Horizon. We're gonna get most likely. I think we're gonna get God of War. I really think that
and factions probably.
Probably factions too. And so like we don't really need this press conference, but because it's happening, let's put on the speculation cap and let's have a good time, sort of deal. You know, like that's what this is all about. Connor, what's your last prediction?
If we're gonna stick on Square Enix, what about Kingdom Hearts?
Is that your last prediction?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, yeah, it's possible, but they've kind of said that they're going to be quiet until 2022. So I mean,
and I hope they are.
They could jump the gun early, but 2022 is an anniversary for Kingdom Hearts. So
they've had a bunch of them, you know.
Yeah, they like to do stuff on the anniversaries or whatever. So yeah. So we'll see. Speaking of anniversaries, though, 25th. That's the last prediction. 25th anniversary Persona is this year, and they've already announced that they're doing 7 announcements from September. Starting in September is the first announcement through 2022. Money in the Bank. You're getting a Persona announcement. Persona 6, potentially. I think is a pretty good, or not a pretty good chance, but I think there's a chance.
Evans, you dog. By the way, I just remembered I have to be Persona this year.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. So yeah, Persona 6. I think it's announced. I think it's like shown like as a teaser. They announced Persona 5 in 2013, and that game came out in 2017. So like, if it's not announced here, it's going to be announced over the course. It's one of the 7 announcements.
Yeah.
But like, why not kick off the 25th anniversary with your big hitter? That, which could backfire because you're setting expectations like really high that the rest are going to be at the same level. But if it's not Persona 6, it's going to be like Persona 5 Arena, which is like going to be like a fighting game because they've done a dancing game and a fighting game for every single Persona. The dancing game's already out, so it would be a fighting game there. Or like they could do like a remaster of like Persona 3, which is like really slept on and apparently really good. It's just old. So yeah, I think that would be like, if we do get a Persona 6 announcement, we're not seeing another massive JRPG there. We are not seeing Final Fantasy 7 or, I mean, it's different studios, but like those announcements cannibalize each other definitely. Like, yeah. So I think we get Persona 6. I think it would be fucking sick. So
you're like, that would be rad. All right. Yeah. So anything else you want to talk about with this press conference? Do you think actually? I want to kick this off with: are we setting our expectations too high?
Yes, but also I feel like they're setting the expectations too high. Like, if it was called the State of Play, it's different. But they've already set expectations for what these kind of press conferences look like. So like, we're gonna get 2 or 3 big announcements. We've gotten 2 or 3 from every single one so far.
FF16, Spider-Man gameplay, Hogwarts. I love Call of Duty, and I think Call of Duty, there's a good shot that shows up again for Vanguard. Resident Evil 8, Deathloop, Demon Souls, God of War, Price, PlayStation Plus collection. There's like 10 announcements there of large consequence.
But a lot of those were like re-updating. Like we saw Resident Evil 8.
FF16, Hogwarts being shown really for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time.
And then God of War announcement.
God of War. So that's your 3.
Those are your 3 out of nowhere. Yeah. But
right.
like, And when we're
So
talking out of nowheres,
I think that when we talk about the ones that we've talked about, I think the Blue Point is guaranteed.
I think that's
That they are acquired.
yeah.
I don't know if we see something
I think
from
that they
them.
got to do it though. If you were like, hey, we acquired Blue Point. F yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go with the plan.
Like that's such a easy thing. Cause like even if it is forever away and they don't even put a date on it, just putting like a Metal Gear noise would make people lose their mind. Like that is all it takes. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
pretty
think
money in the bank.
I think Factions is Money in the Bank, and then God of War. I think those are like three that like you can take
But
to the
God of
bank.
War, we know. So
Yes.
like the God of War for me is like the Spider-Man gameplay or the Demon Souls gameplay.
All right, then we get one. Then we get one of the other ones that we've talked about: New
Yeah,
Uncharted, Persona 6, Final Fantasy 16. Which
remake two,
that there's another argument that
remake two,
like, yeah, it's possible.
two, remake two.
Speaking of studios and PlayStation games, Norman Reedus said that they're working on Death Stranding 2.
Sweet, cool, yeah.
So
If that,
I mean, Kojima likes to show that shit really early. Like,
yep.
but like, I feel like
You can't cannibalize the director's cut, or
yeah,
you go into like director's cut, DS2.
right, exactly. It's possible.
It's all in pairs, baby. It's all in pairs. And by the way,
the final trailer for director's cut by Kojima, because like he talks about it on Twitter all the time, is on the 8th. So like,
yeah,
then you announce a new game on the 9th. Like
that would be baller. That would be big dick swinging, dude. That would be unreal.
mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel good. I feel like we got a good show. Do we want to put any wager on this with our hits?
What were we thinking? Have we done one? We've done a bet on something else, and I have no idea what.
We have a bet on the Metacritic scores. We have a bet on one other prediction show, and that's it. We talked about doing bets for the. Thank goodness we didn't, because we didn't put anything on the line. But for E3, you smoked me on E3 predictions.
Yeah,
you
I did.
Smoked me. I went and watched the first half of that show yesterday just to see, and like I got nothing. Like I got next to nothing, and it was me being me and being stupid and overhyped, and Mario Karts and Breath of the Wilds in 2021 with the new Switch and da 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 da. And you're just like, you're ridiculous, and I'm like, I know. But yeah, it's been good. You smoked me on that, but we didn't put anything on there. And then we have the pizza bet for if I beat Persona 5 this year. Which, by the way,
the biggest, fattest pizza.
I'm locking in over the breaks, over Thanksgiving and Christmas break, and I'm beating that thing December 31st. And you would
literally have to sit down and play it for like 30 hours straight, Nick. You're not gonna finish it.
I can do. It's a 100-hour game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can go. You know Sean and Reggie. They'll be down for me to sit on the couch 10 hours, 10 days.
Oh yeah, they love that. They love that. You're not going to be able to. Like the thing is, you can't rush through it. Like it's literally physically impossible to rush through Persona 5.
I know
because you have to level like to a certain extent, so you're like. You have to like play the actual game, or else you're gonna get to the end, and not be able to finish it.
I'm gonna sit
because
down
you won't be like kind of leveled
with Matt Lucid, and I'm gonna crank through that game.
Yeah.
Wait. I have a question.
Yep.
By the way, our mother just joined the chat right when I brought her up. That's really funny. I have a quick question. Quick pro quo. What does this count if I go and play the save file that I've already played with Matt and Nathan for the past couple years? Because I've played the first 30 hours of this game already. Now I just need to know if that's allowed. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
Yeah.
You're still not gonna finish it.
Okay.
You can't even finish Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, I haven't. By the way, so on the extra life thermometer that we have, I have me streaming horror games, and I'm gonna finish that and 7 on stream if we hit that goal.
There's no way you're such a weenie. There's no way you're going back to play these horror games. You'll chicken out. Dude, Resident Evil 7 is scary. Resident Evil 8, you're a weenie if you can't get through that game. That game is not scary.
I am a weenie, Connor. I eat at Super Weenie
same.
Hut Juniors.
Me too, but like I can get through that.
I eat at Super Weenie Hut Juniors.
Clearly.
Anything else that we want to do before we wrap the show up?
No, sounds good to me.
I think we're all
Good
good.
job.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Casual Gaming Conversation. If you like that, head over to Spotify and YouTube, both under Casual Gaming Conversation, under the Nevins Island tab for YouTube, and then Casual Gaming Conversation has its own feed on Spotify. Check those out. Like, subscribe, do all those fun things. If you've made it this far, go and do all those good things. You know how to do all those good things. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute you. Peace out.